attempt for my first souffle ever. So I have everything ready to go. This butter is to butter the inside of the ramekins, put a little bit of Parmesan cheese to help the souffle rise. I've got 3 different types of cheeses here: sharp cheddar, smoked Gouda, and some Parmesan. A quarter and a cup of milk, a quarter cup of sour cream with some Dijon mustard, a teaspoon and a half of salt, and then we need 6 egg yolks and 7 egg whites. So just gonna, very important that you do not get any yolk in the whites, because your whites will not form stiff peaks if there's any fat in that. So I'm gonna actually do this in a separate container. That way I don't risk contaminating the whole batch. So just repeat this 6 times, and then we'll go to the next step.
Spencer, what do you like a souffle?
Did you say cheese? Cheese is my favorite food. Okay, so we need to butter the insides of the ramekins. Take your butter out a couple hours before you need to use it. Get it nice and soft, and I'm just using this spatula to do that. Spencer is a big fan of cheese, and he heard me say that we were having a cheese souffle, and so now he will not leave my side. It's funny because Avery was the first one to notice this, but when he made himself a turkey sandwich, he would open the turkey and Spencer would stay put, but he would open the cheese and Spencer would come running. So the next thing that we're gonna do, and this doesn't call for on this recipe, but I've read so many different recipes for souffle, that adding some cheese or a breadcrumb even to the walls of your souffle does help the souffle climb up the walls. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of Parmesan in each of these, getting out all the extra. Okay, so I have 3 tablespoons of butter melted, and I'm going to whisk in my 3 tablespoons of flour. I like to have a whisk and a rubber spatula ready for this, because it helps you get into the little sides and areas that you can't really get with the whisk. I also really do not like cooking by recipes. I like to just kind of throw things together, which is why I don't really bake. But since I am following a recipe, I find it very helpful to pre-measure all of my ingredients, so I don't have to keep going back and forth to a piece of paper. That's very frustrating to me. We're just gonna let this cook for a minute or 2, kind of like if you're making a roux or bechamel sauce. The beginnings, you know, a lot of people make their macaroni and cheese like this. Fat, starch, getting everything nice and coated. Gonna let that, make sure it gets nice and warm before I add my milk, and it's a cup and a quarter. Want to whisk constantly when you add that to avoid getting lumps. After we add the milk, then we're gonna add the cheeses, the sour cream, salt, and then eventually the egg yolks. All right, I'm gonna add in the milk. I'm also gonna go back through with the spatula to make sure I get all the flour up from the sides and the edges, and you can see how that's coming up. We're gonna let this continue cooking until it thickens up a little bit. And I do love to cook, but really what I love is to eat. And so I don't mind putting in the work that is required in order to have the end result be a delicious meal. So you can see how much that's thickened already. We'll go ahead and add the cheese. Again, I've got a combination of smoked Gouda, sharp cheddar, and Parmesan. You're supposed to do this step until the cheese has been completely incorporated and it's almost velvety. Actually, I'm going to take this completely out of heat. Do you mind?
I have to do everything around here.
I know, it's a labor of love. So this is what's known as the base. And then to this base, we are gonna add the egg whites that we're gonna whip in just a second.
Don't forget the salt, Kel.
No, don't forget the salt. Oh my gosh, it smells really good. All right, so there we are. We're done with the base. So now we're gonna whip the egg whites. We've got my 7 egg whites and a pinch of salt. Okay, so after about 4 minutes, we are at stiff peak where the egg whites kind of stand up on their own. And we're gonna gently fold about 1/3 of the egg whites into the base. It's not cheese, it's egg whites.
I like egg whites.
You don't. All right, I'm gonna transfer these to the ramekins that were buttered and parmesaned earlier, and then we're gonna stick them in the oven. Just pulled them out of the oven, and here we go, cheese souffle.
That looks pretty cool. I can't wait to try it.